I want a better life for my family. What's next?
I'm looking to better my career. What's next?
I just graduated from high school. What's next?
I dropped out of high school. What's next?
I'm the first in my family to go to college. What's next?
I just lost my job. What's next?
I just got out of the military. What's next?
I've just been released from prison. What's next?
I don't know what's next for me.
Don't know what's next for you? Join me, Dr. Renee Cintron, on the What's Next Louisiana podcast and discover the possibilities with Louisiana's community and technical colleges. Welcome to the What's Next Louisiana podcast. We are here to inform and inspire. If you're looking for a changing career, trying to learn more about what career options are available across the state, learn more about the community and technical college system, this is the podcast for you. We have an excellent episode today regarding those terms that are shorter in nature. You know, we usually think of our colleges to have credit programs that are 16 weeks. We're going to talk about summer. That's 8 weeks. We're going to talk about Mini-Mesters. Mini-Mesters are typically 4 weeks or so on. There's so many different lengths, especially in the short-term area. And that's what we're going to talk about today. With me, I have an excellent panel of folks that are going to help me with this information because they know a lot more about this stuff than I do. I'm going to start with Anna Nani, who is the Executive Director of Enrollment Management at Fletcher Technical Community College. Anna, thank you for being here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Fletcher.
Thanks, Dr. Cintron. So I am the Executive Director of Enrollment Management, and what that means is I oversee the entire enrollment process. So as early as just students who are inquiring and showing interest in our programs and capturing their information so we can communicate to them, how to get them through the application process, the financial aid process, the orientation process, and pass them along to our student success coaches who are our advising team members. And so there's a really great reward in seeing students through the entire process as an open admission institution, as a system of open admission institutions. That admissions process is not as difficult for students as I think they probably envision it being. And so I am delighted to get to participate with them in that process.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna, for that. I'm going to ask you some more questions to tell us a little bit more about enrolling. Before that, I want to introduce our next panelist, Ryan Pierce, who is the Division Chair for the School of Business and Technology at Louisiana Delta Community College. Ryan, how are you? Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Louisiana Delta.
Well, thank you so much, Renee. It's a pleasure being on the podcast. My name is Ryan Pierce, Division Chair for the School of Business and Technology at Louisiana Delta Community College up here in Region 8, Northeast Louisiana. Proud to be a part of the system and proud to be a part of our college. A little bit about what I do, simply similar to a dean position. I oversee all the programs in our area, inclusive of business and technology, business office administration, the cloud computing program, IT, computer science, and a host of other certificates. We're excited that, there's much more to come on the horizon for our division. And again, we're just excited to lend a hand of our entire proud LCTCS system. So we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan, for being back on the podcast. I know you and I had a nice conversation about cloud computing programs. Up next, I'm going to ask Mary Helen Sims, who is the Director of Financial Aid at Northwest Louisiana Technical Community College, to introduce yourself. How are you doing? Tell us a little bit about your role.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Cintron. My name is Mary Helen Sims. I am the Director of Financial Aid for Northwest Louisiana Technical Community College. What that means is I oversee our 3 campuses, which are, we have one in Mansfield, one in Minden, and one in Shreveport, Louisiana. I basically oversee the financial aid paperwork and the processes coming through each campus. Along with that, I still have my former role, which is financial aid officer at the Minden campus. So in addition to overseeing the 3 campuses, I also have my own students that I process financial aid for on the Minden campus. And that is basically what I do.
Thank you, Mary Helen, for that introduction. and thank you for being on the podcast. Our next panelist is a very special guest here. Our students are very special to us. Tara Mitchell from Baton Rouge Community College, not only a student, she's the SGA president, a student board member, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm gonna ask you to tell us a little bit about you and what you do at BRCC, Baton Rouge Community College, and your involvement with enrollment and being a student and so on. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Cintron. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tara Mitchell. I'm serving my second consecutive SGA presidential term. Actually, I am a student member on the LCTCS Board of Supervisors, and I also sit on other various committees which were appointed to me through these roles. So I basically serve as student liaison from students to administrator, and I also serve as the sole advocate, not only to our mid-city campus, but to our other BRCC campuses, Baton Rouge Community College campuses as well. And I have 6 other cabinet members that I oversee as well, and a lot of paperwork, meetings, and advocacy is involved, but I really love what I do.
And you get to see not just your own student experience, but that of others. So I want to ask you a couple of questions about that a little bit later in the episode. And a couple of you mentioned, Mary Helen and Tara, you mentioned both the multiple campuses. So while we have 12 community and technical colleges across the system, across the state, there are multitude of campuses, 50 plus locations out there. Then we're gonna get more into those conversations about where to register, how to register, and so on. But before we get really started with this, I'm gonna take a little break and listen to a message from one of our colleges.
We're ready. We're ready. We're ready, yeah, ready, we're ready.
All of us at BRCC are ready for another great year. We are one institution committed to excellence and student success. So let me ask you this, are you ready?
We're ready, we're ready, we're ready, yeah, ready, we're ready.
Anna, I know at Fletcher Technical Community College where you are, and you're going to tell us a little bit about what you do there, but also it applies to other institutions in the LCTCS. When does summer registration open, close? What formats are being offered? And Ryan, keep thinking about that because I'm going to come to you next with that question. Anna, can you tell us about summer registration?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, the enrollment process is similar for all of the colleges across the board with a few slight changes, right? So here at Fletcher, we opened registration for our summer and fall semesters back in April. And that allowed for students to register really early in some instances. We like to get students who are planners and ready to get going into their classes. Now, some colleges in our system may have opened registration prior to that, or may be opening registration. I'd be surprised if all of our colleges are not already open for summer. Of course, we have our veteran students and veteran dependent students who are able to register first in a priority registration. But really the process begins for our colleges by going to the college website. For us, it's fletcher.edu, and clicking apply and completing the admissions application. It's a student friendly. We worked very hard as a system to really hone in on what information is needed from the student and not asking tons of questions that we don't do anything with. And so it's user friendly. And as soon as the student clicks submit, we receive their application. And here at Fletcher Technical Community College, our communication channel is mainly through email and text messaging and phone calls. And so emails are automatically set up to go out to students and say, like, here's your next step. And what we choose to do is encourage students to participate in an orientation session, as I'm sure many of the other colleges do. And that allows the students to see our campuses, to meet with our faculty and staff, to learn what it's like to be a Fletcher Falcon, and get ready and set for the semester to begin.
Excellent. Thank you, Anna. And I know you gave the Fletcher website, and you can find all of our colleges' websites at lctcs.edu/our-colleges. So you can see all of the different ones, and the same process. You click on apply now and you go through the application process. So thank you for that. Ryan, to you at Louisiana Delta Community College, and again, I think some of these answers are applied to all of our institutions. What are the formats in which students can learn in the summer in general, and these mini terms that you have offered there? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. To piggyback off what Anna said, the processes are very similar across the different colleges. But when we speak about what are the different ways that a student can learn, I just want you to visualize with me for a second. It's summertime, right? We're talking about summer. And whether you're coming from a university or you're already in a Louisiana Community and Technical College system school, imagine waking up it's the summertime, the mid-morning sun is peering through the blinds or the curtains in your room. You have Biscuit, your favorite puppy pal, to your right, and you have your cozy teddy bear on the left-hand side of you, and you have your laptop right in front of you. And you're trying to figure out, what do I want to do today? Do I want to enjoy the class from the comforts of my home, watching a live lecture, potentially a synchronous lecture? Do I want to drive to my nearest campus location, which, by the way, which was said earlier, we have a campus in almost every parish. If we're talking about the system, almost every parish has a campus location. So that's a benefit of coming to the LCTCS system schools. So you can either enjoy that presentation online from the comfort of your home, or you can go to the campus and enjoy it there. So I think that it's really great. What I'm speaking to, of course, is a hybrid modality that we've grown to really appreciate and enjoy. You can always have options to take classes via the standard lecture. That's always going to be there. And in fact, we're trying to encourage students to come back on campus, of course, in the wake of the pandemic. But you can do a fully online asynchronous version where you can just have coursework laid out for you and you do it at a certain pace, and the deadlines are there and you just meet those. Or you can do a hybrid mode where you go to class sometimes on campus, or you can do it via the comfort of your own home. So all that being said, those are the many ways you can enjoy an LCTCS style experience. As far as the many different ways you can separate or segment the summer or any given term, certainly you can go the full length of a term. At Louisiana Delta Community College, we call that JO1. And so a student in summer, they're going to, start June 1 and they'll end August the 4th. And we have a plethora of classes that are available in every single mode of learning that you can possibly think of, that go from June 1 to August the 4th. But then we also have what some would call B term, or we have parts of term, where we would allow a student to take a class that starts June 1st and ends June 30th. Now that's a 4-week class. Now imagine, what would normally take maybe 16 weeks. You're going to compress that down into 4 weeks. Very efficient, but it takes a very dedicated student who knows what they want to do, who is very, just no questions asked. They're committed to take on something like that. So you have the June session, we like to call it June session colloquially. And then we also have a session in July that goes July 6th through August the 4th. And I'm sure all of the other institutions have similar parts of term. So there's many different ways you can experience the classroom environment, and also many different ways you can accomplish or complete a class or a section of study at our colleges based on what I just laid out.
Thank you, Ryan, for that. It was what I gather is that there's a whole bunch of different ways to take classes, like you said, with your teddy bear next to you or on a campus in person, and a mixture of both, right? So it's very important to know that. Tara, I want to ask you about, Anna and Ryan have laid out, somewhat of the registration process, the student classroom experience. What has been your experience as a student? What has been the experience of the students that you interact with?
Dr. Cintron, as you may know, since we have been in this mostly online format, the feelings have been mixed. I myself prefer online classes. It's flexible. Mr. Ryan, I'm one of those students who have taken the 4-week, the 7-week, the 16-week, and the shorter courses because, I was trying to graduate at a decent time. But overall, from my experience, it has been okay. But at the same time, it also depends on your learning style, because I get a lot of students that come to me because they're frustrated because they can't teach themselves because we don't have many asynchronous courses or many hybrid courses right now offered at Baton Rouge Community Colleges. So a lot of the response that I'm getting from students are mixed.
And I can definitely understand that with the changes that we have been having. How do you see it going forward into this summer, and what's your schedule like, and what do you expect your experience to be?
So actually, everybody on the call, Dr. Renee, I graduate next week. So my experience is going to be just laying back, relaxing, getting into the working field. And I'm actually going to be moving on to Southern University. So that's going to be a transition for me, because I'm pretty sure the curriculum is different and it's a bigger campus. The classes are bigger. So it's going to have to be something that I get used to. But I'm pretty sure I can handle it.
I'm sure you can. And congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you.
And best of luck. If you need anything, you know how to reach out. I'm sure you won't, because you're a very capable student and then graduate and a student again, and lifelong learner, I'm sure, as you keep going. I'm certain that, as we talk about registration and taking classes, in the back of some of our listeners' heads, there might be the question of how do you pay for this? What are some funding availability? Are there some dollars available for students? I want to turn to Mary Helen, who is the Director of Financial Aid, and to give us some information about the summer opportunities for funding. Are there Pell Grants available, TOPS availability, those kind of things, or any other available scholarships for students at your institution, but also anything that you might know about in general. Mary Helen, any thoughts on that?
Yes. So Pell Grant is available to any student who is registering for summer classes. The only thing with Pell is I'm assuming it's like this everywhere. If you attended full time for fall and spring semesters, you do have to enroll in a certain number of credit hours for the summer in order to get Pell. TOPS is all students are allowed to use their TOPS funding if they are a TOPS recipient. They can use it for the summer. It's strictly up to the student. When I talk to students, I always make sure that they are aware. TOPS, you want to get the most bang out of your buck. So if you're only taking 3 credit hours this summer, and they are eligible for other funding streams, I usually kind of just advise them that they may want to hold off on using their TOPS for summer and use it for a semester where they're going to go full-time or close to full-time, because with TOPS you have a certain time frame, and once you've reached that, you're done. So if a student knows they're going to attend full-time fall and spring, I usually advise them, if they can, to not use their TOPS award for the summer. there are also other funding streams that I'm aware of that are available statewide. WIOA, which is Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, they have funds available. It depends on the region, but I know here in Region 7, that's where we're located for them. They do have funding available. I can't speak as far as the funding statewide, but that's an opportunity, along with TAA, which is Trade Adjustment Assistance. We currently have students on our campus who receive that assistance. Some were laid off from plants that were TAA eligible, so they're using that money, which is a great benefit. And I mean, I have students who use sometimes all three. I have students who use TAA and Pell. So there's many opportunities for funding for those students. We do not do Go Grant during the summer. It's strictly fall and spring. As far as NLTCC, Northwest Louisiana Technical Community College, all of our scholarships are listed on our website under the financial aid tab. There are VA benefits that are also available to students who are veteran students, and they use those during the summer as well. So I feel like that's almost everything. I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, just depends on the student and what they're eligible for.
Mary Helen, thank you for that. And you answered a question that I had for you. So where would students go to find out more information about financial aid? And you identified the financial aid page at the college. There's also other opportunities, other people to reach out to, such as the financial aid officers at the institution. Anna, I know you have great experience with this. Can you add to that?
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to mention that can be really tricky about financial aid, and trust me, I am far from an expert, but some of our colleges, Fletcher included, we have what we list as summer as a header. And I'm not going to go into all of the ins and outs of that, but our students wanting to use financial aid in the summer need to complete the 2021-2022 FAFSA to use it summer, fall, spring. Now, some colleges are going to have summer as a footer. And again, I'm not going to go into all the details, but they wouldn't require that FAFSA year or that 8 years FAFSA if their summer is a footer. So I would just say, with that being said, contact the college that you're interested in to see which FAFSA application you need to do, because currently there's the 2020-2021 FAFSA that's available, and then the 2021-2022 FAFSA that's available. And what I see is sometimes students complete one thinking it's the correct one, and we have to notify them like, hey, we still need your FAFSA application to be able to process aid for the upcoming semester. So that's just one thing that I wanted to put out there for students. I know it can be confusing, just to let them know that there are differences in those applications and which one you choose to do is important.
Excellent. Thank you for bringing that up about the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid that provides the ability to gain some of the things that Mary Helen was talking about, TOPS, Pell, and so on. So thank you for bringing that up. Very important message for current students and potential students to make sure they have those forms filled out. I want to ask all of you your thoughts on what are the advantages of going to school in the summer. Tara, would you tell us specifically for the student, what are the advantages for going to school in the summer?
The advantages for a student going to school in the summer, and I know students, a lot of students like, for the summertime, I don't want to go to school, this and that. The most advantage that I've gotten out of summer school is you graduate on time. You're able to take extra classes. Think about it. If you take 5 classes in the fall and 5 classes in the semester, that's 15 credits. And you can go to summer school and earn an additional 12 by taking 3 more credits. And the advantage of summer school is that you not only have more time with the instructor, because I've also noticed that the classes could be smaller because people are taking a break in the summertime. Classes are longer, so there's more one-on-one time. And most importantly, you graduate either early, depending on your goal, or you graduate on time.
You know, it's interesting because I always say there's a full-time student, there's a part-time student, and then there's an on-time student. And you just added a fourth one, which is an early graduate student, right? So that's great. I appreciate you bringing that up, to making sure that, you know, maybe you're behind and you want to catch up, or maybe you want to get ahead, and, you know, or maybe you want to take a lighter load through the year and stay on time. So that's the flexibility of managing your schedule, your time as a student and as an individual with responsibilities in the world, right? Ryan, what are your thoughts on advantages for not just the summer, but, you know, those shorter terms that you mentioned? You have a June, a July, all these different options.
Well, you know, there's so much to say about it. I mean, first of all, just to piggyback off of what Tara said, you know, but from a macro perspective, right? I'm going to say cost. You know, especially if we're comparing to other institutions, you know, four-year universities and stuff, definitely we're going to be a major benefit there. And like, again, Tara said, personal touch. You're going to, if you're sitting in a classroom in the summer, and I've taught some classes in the summer, 2.5 hours every day, if you're doing one of those shorter term classes, and yet it really, really is good for a class like a mathematics class. I've taught intro to computers before, and I found that the students really become even more engaged, and we can get through a lot of work in that time period. Just to reiterate what we talked about before, high availability, campuses everywhere, right? But summertime specifically, if we're thinking about that, what goes unnoticed a lot of times are the highly nuanced learning opportunities provided through our transferable general education core curriculum that we offer at each of our institutions as well. And I'm talking about math, English, history, psychology, anything that lends itself to that ideology of the well-rounded individual. What I want people to know is that we have fully credentialed instructors with years of doing that one thing, teaching all who pass through the doors. There's no other distraction. And I want to give you one example that I think is telling and what you might experience in the classroom at one of our institutions. My example, of course, comes from Louisiana Delta Community College, and our School of Liberal Arts has an instructor by the name of Doug Sangster. And I come to know of Doug's excellence in two ways. One, when I'm advising students, they're coming to me and they're asking me, oh my goodness, can I have Professor Sangster for all of my English classes or all of my literature classes? And I'm sure everybody has had that experience where they know of an instructor that is just hands down the best, and the students say it and they want them over and over. They could have them for every class, even classes that they're not qualified to teach. They want them for every single class. But number two, the reason why I come to know of how great he is personally, and what, again, you could experience at one of the LTCS institutions, and especially at Louisiana Delta, since he's one of ours, I actually happened to walk past his classroom one day and heard the most eloquent and emotional oration of a short story I have ever heard. All of the students were on the edge of their seats. Now, mind you, I'm walking past the class. I'm in the hallway. The door is closed to the classroom, and I can hear him. I can feel the intent of his words that he's reading off the written page, streaming through his very being. The words are dancing off the page, and I'm saying to myself, my goodness, if I could just stop what I'm doing in my workday and sit down and enjoy and appreciate the excellence that's going on in this classroom, I would feel like I was enriched tremendously. And that was a special moment. I know for his class, it was a special moment for me. And it was a great reminder that our professors all across the system are doing their very best to bring energy, to bring enlightenment, to bring joy into the classroom every single time. And so in some classes, you have to be the sage on the stage, but those classes that lend themselves to that, I can guarantee you that we have a ton of instructors that do a great job at it. And so I'm just thinking of that kind of treat. And then when we talk about summertime, and specifically one-on-one or more personalized instruction because the class sizes are less or smaller, you know, those are some of the things that I think about when I think about summertime, is just enriching experiences that you could get at any time of the year, but especially in the summer when you're probably as a student just taking one or two classes, it allows you to really hone in and really just grab an experience that you may never forget in the summertime. So that's what I wanted to add to that discussion.
Excellent. Thank you, Ron. I mean, the fact that you brought in the professors and the experience, and I will say, professors are off in the summer. So these are professors that are wanting to teach during the summertime, which adds to what you just said, the fact that you have the one-on-one and the close relationship with the instructor because of the smaller class sizes. And that's true throughout the year as well. But, since we're talking about summer, that's good to mention during the summertime as well. Anna, what are your thoughts on the advantages of attending a summer short-term sessions? Those that happen in Mini-Mester, between semesters, those kind of things.
I really will just echo what was said previously. I think there's so many benefits. It's short term. And so I am currently a student in a graduate program that's online. And I'm gonna tell you, summer can be tough, but it's short term in nature, right? If you can dedicate time and energy and say, look, I can do this for 4 weeks. Yeah, it might take my weekends away, or I might stay up late, but after those 4 weeks or those 8 weeks are done, there's such a reward. And you're like, well, that went more quickly than I thought. And so I would say, looking at the cost, looking at the opportunities to get ahead in your degree program, and that, it is a short-term goal and it can be difficult, but there are a lot of rewards associated with it as well.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. The fact that you're a student as well and studying over the summer in the short-term compressed programs, and have a family at home as well. So, other responsibilities besides your day job, your family, and schoolwork, which is a lot of what our students have going on in their lives. So thank you for bringing that up to this conversation. Mary Helen, I want to give you the last word here on the advantages of summertime.
Okay. Well, I really have to echo what the others have said on here. Advantages of summertime to me would be being able to complete earlier than a traditional, I hate to say it like that, but than a traditional student who is going to attend fall, spring semesters only. I go back to when I was in school. I attended most summers, and originally that was the plan, was, okay, well, I'll attend in the summer so I can finish early. It doesn't always happen that way. It certainly didn't happen with me, because I kept changing my mind on what I wanted to do. But I just think the advantage is completing early, also within a shorter time frame. Summer semesters typically run shorter. You have the opportunity to break it up. I know I already mentioned our campuses. We operate like that year round, but for most schools, you just have more opportunity to take courses within a shorter term, and possibly knock out some of your not as difficult classes that are on your curriculum. That to me would be the advantage for a student.
Excellent, Mary Helen. You just made me think about something. We're talking about shortened time frame and doing it in a shorter amount of time, like you said, to get to graduation. There's also an additional point. You get to what's next for you, right? You get to the job. You get to Southern University, as Tara is going to. You get to whatever's after the classes in a shorter time frame. You get there quicker. So when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want Tara to share with us her advice to prospective students. Tell us what would you tell students? And since we're talking about what's next, we're accelerating things about what's coming up. I want all of the panelists to tell us what's next for them. We're going to take a quick break and be back shortly.
Hi, I'm Monty Sullivan, president of the Louisiana Community and Technical College System. We are so proud of the graduating class of 2021. You put in the work, and today you walk across the stage to place in your hand that degree or certificate that will fundamentally change your life. We can't wait to see the Louisiana that you will build.
Louisiana's community and technical colleges are open for business. Enroll today and get a head start on your college or career goals at half the price and with no application fees. As accredited colleges, these credits are guaranteed to transfer to other public Louisiana universities. Whether it's on campus or online, we are ready for you. So find a course, select a college, and enroll today at enroll.lctcs.edu.
And we're back. We're talking about summer terms, short-term terms. And Tara, a student at Baton Rouge Community College, SGA president, also a student board member of the LCTCS Board of Supervisors, has some advice for students and how they can be successful in short terms and in general.
Hey, Dr. Renee, the first word of advice that I want to give students, especially prospective students, because I know a lot of students out of high school tend to register in the summer to see how classes go. Get advice first. You don't want to be in the wrong classes. You don't want to be taking classes and wasting financial aid on classes that don't go towards your major. Now, on the up and up, for some tips that'll help you stay on top, watch your modules every day, whether you use Moodle, Canvas, whatever it is that your system use. Check those daily. Please stay on top of your assignments, study. Please don't procrastinate, especially in the summertime, because the workload can be 2 to 3 times more, depending on if you're taking 4-week or 7-week classes. Always stay motivated, never give up. And the most important thing that I can say that has helped me along the way is communication is the key. If you're having an issue with the class, if you're having a problem understanding something, talk to your instructor. You don't have to suffer in silence because they don't know what we don't tell them.
That's such a great advice. Communication is the theme that I heard you say. Communicate with faculty about what's going on in your life and with your assignment. Communicate with advisors as you're getting in that way that you can get into the right courses, those that go towards graduation, and then communicate with yourself. Have those reminders, have the whatever tools you have to keep you on task, because it moves pretty fast, as you said. Thank you for providing that advice. I couldn't have said it any better myself. So I really appreciate student to students. That's the best advice that can be given out there. And you already told us what's next for you. You're graduating and you're going to Southern University. So congratulations to you on that. Very excited for you there. So I want to ask the other panelists, what's next for you? Let's start with you, Mary Helen. What's next?
For me, what's next is continuing to learn my new role. The role I'm currently in is still pretty new for me. So I learn something new every day. I think we all do that in any position we're in, but for me, it's just continuing to learn this role, learn more about financial aid. I want to be the person who can, talk to students about financial aid, sort of as a subject matter expert. I want to be able to put their minds at ease when it comes to financial aid. And I think the only way I can do that efficiently and effectively is by learning more about this role I'm in. So that is what's next for me. I train with my former supervisor most evenings, and that's what's next.
Thank you, Mary Helen. And, based on the answers and information you provided earlier, I don't think anybody would have guessed this is a new role for you. So congratulations and good luck as you learn, as we all do, learn every day something new. Thank you for that. Ryan, what's next for you?
Wow. I don't want to take up too much time, right? So I'll just try to keep it quick. I thought you were going to go to Anna next, actually, and let me close the show out, but no. Okay. So definitely we're working as a system collaboratively, all the IT individuals, subject matter experts and whatnot have been working on the cloud computing consortium. We're now working to stand up cybersecurity as a statewide degree. And it's been great to be a part of that and to get expert knowledge and insights from all over the place. I mean, obviously we know that Bossier Parish Community College has been a leader in that space for quite a while. So we definitely give a nod to them and know that they, recognize that they've been helping a whole lot, with the whole standing up across the system of cybersecurity. Got a lot of guidance there.
Anna, I think you knew you were next because that's it, right? What's next for you?
So on a slightly lighter note, this is not the only thing that's next for me, but we are officially 59 minutes past the acceptable time to eat lunch. So my very first next thing is going to be lunch. But no, I have so many things on a to-do list, right? When you work, so I'll give a shout out to our amazing chancellor, Dr. Christine Strickland. She's such an innovator and allows for us to be able to do innovative things on campus. And so, of course, our to-do lists are going to be long. And it's just about chipping away at those to-do lists and getting students enrolled into our programs and completed and into jobs. So that's really what's the most important next step for us.
So beyond a nice nourishment,
yes.
getting through the innovative list of activities to get students enrolled and successfully graduated and moving on to what's next for them. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And really, thank you all very much for sharing your expertise. I know we have a little bit of time. Talking about short terms, we had short time to get all of your information in. And there was a couple of websites that we mentioned already, lctcs.edu/our-colleges. You can go there and see all of our institutions, specifically for financial aid purposes. There's financial aid pages and information there. So thank you all very much, Ryan, Anna, Tara, and Mary Helen. Thank you very much for being on the episode today to talk about summer enrollment, and best of luck on what's next for you.
Before we wrap things up, we want to take the time at the end of each episode to answer some questions from our listeners. If you have a question you would like us to answer, email us. What's Next Louisiana@lctcs.edu. You can visit us online at lctcs.edu/whatsnextla or tweet us at GoLCTCS. A special thanks to the What's Next Louisiana podcast team. Aquina Grant, LCTCS Director of Communications. Landon Corbin, LCTCS Coordinator of Digital Outreach. April Smith, North Shore Technical Community College, Livingston Campus Dean. Jason Leader, Nunes Community College, Director of Communications. Darian Atkins, Louisiana Delta Community College, Director of Community and Public Relations. Until next time, I'm Dr. Renee Cintron asking you, what's next, Louisiana?